Welcome everybody. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I'm sure you've already heard, you've gotten the notifications, but Trump's Mar-a-Lago home has been raided by the FBI. It's suspected or confirmed, not quite sure. Obviously, a lot of details outstanding as of now, but it seems to be related to him keeping documents, taking documents from his time as president to Mar-a-Lago, which you're not supposed to do with particular classified type documents. So we heard about that story whenever it was found out that he had done that, and now we're seeing the investigation into it. So we're just going to be following this for a little bit here. I'm moving today, so it's been crazy. I got the news as I was literally moving boxes in. As you can see, a different backdrop. I'm not all set up yet, so I need to get it situated after we're done being live, but I had to go live, so I'm plugging things in, trying to just get a temporary setup to talk about this. Okay, so let's go ahead and just tune into CBS.
With
and
the former president.
Swift reaction
pull
from
up other stuff as well.
Allies, as you report, Nicole. Not a surprise necessarily. Scott McFarland, I want to bring you into this conversation because we have learned that this is related to those missing documents. You have actually been discussing this ongoing investigation, or rather,
this is nuts. And just to be clear, the reason why this is so huge is the FBI is not going to just willy-nilly go raid a former president's residence. That's just not a thing they're going to do. They understand how bad that would look. So this means they have really, really good reason to believe that it is worth it for them to do something that is going to be portrayed by the other side as being politically motivated. It's hugely, hugely groundbreaking. Former presidents, even ones who are suspected of doing pretty bad things, are never looked into because they know how bad it could look. It's crazy.
Cooperation from the Trump team with its investigation. In his statement tonight, former President Trump says this search at his property happened despite his cooperation with investigators. Again, that aligns with the National Archives. We also know a congressional committee has been investigating these missing records too. Not the January 6th Select Committee, but the House Oversight Committee, which is a long way of saying there are any number of stakeholders interested in what happened with those records, but you don't have to cover enough. If you cover enough congressional committees, if you cover enough Justice Department.
Historic day, ladies and gentlemen.
Investigations don't always end near where they started. If
First, you know, direct action on Donald Trump. So many members of his orbit have been looked into, but this is the first time they're going after him directly.
Wherever they lead when they launch an investigation. The January 6th Select Committee also said it would follow the facts wherever they lead, and we're watching that investigation play out publicly. It has sprawled into an unprecedented, massive investigation about January 6th, about the months before, about accused conspirators, and about Donald Trump. The Justice Department won't comment on this investigation. We reached out to the Justice Department office in D.C., where the January 6th investigation is led, and the Justice Department office in Maryland, where National Archives investigations are often led, because the National Archives...
We'll flip over to Newsmax, which is obviously going to be pro...
Exactly right. There is going to be a
Trump.
backlash. I think people are tired of it. They know it's wrong. It just doesn't stop. These people can't give up, and they will keep going after President Trump. And I know what Bernie Kirk meant.
I just wish and wish I could look at each one of these right-wingers in the face and beg them, please look at the facts of the case. Don't just instantly wave this all off as politically motivated. But that's not what they're going to do.
Many of them to love the president. That's their right.
That's right. I think voters will certainly be behind the former president and the America First agenda going forward into those elections. Congressman Jeff Van Drew of the wonderful state of New Jersey, thank you for your time tonight. It's always great to see you, sir.
My pleasure.
All right, folks. Well, 4 states are gearing up for primary elections tomorrow, which could be interesting as a result of this news, including Deep Blue, Connecticut. That's where newly Trump-endorsed candidate Leora Levy hopes to secure a Senate seat and flip that state red. She joins us next.
They're talking about a different story. Wild.
The testimony, the transcripts of their depositions, to share them with the Justice Department to help support Justice Department prosecutions of the defendants who are charged in federal court for their roles in the U.S. Capitol attack. So they've sought information sharing. But let's just go over the list of investigations that have some nexus to the former president. In New York City, about taxes, about nonprofit.
Okay, so quick update to everyone hopping on. I understand that right now I'm competing viewership-wise with literally every single YouTube or cable news show because everyone's going to be live covering this right now. So I appreciate all of you guys who are choosing to be here for the moment. I'm working on getting some multiple things we can be looking at and flipping through, so just give me a second to do that. Again, I'm in the middle of moving. If I flip my camera around, which I'm not going to do because that would be embarrassing, but there's just junk everywhere, boxes, yeah, slop. So I'm mid-move getting this all figured out. So I will be pulling up other channels we can be watching simultaneously, so stick with me.
Unless or until they close, and unless and until there's some type of civil or criminal filing against somebody involved. Somebody, in this case, at Mar-a-Lago, near Mar-a-Lago, or in that orbit. So we're not going to get confirmation from the Justice Department, but I'll note this, just because we've heard several references to parallels with Watergate, this being unprecedented compared to Watergate. I'm just noting the date. It's August 8th. President Nixon resigned after Watergate on August 8th, 1974.
Ooh, trippy. Okay, here's the view outside of Mar-a-Lago. Increasingly, some police presence, and they're expecting crowds to build of Trump supporters, expressing their support of Trump in these difficult times. And you can see it already starting. Gosh, that's so wild. How quickly they were able to mobilize, you know? All of his supporters just instantly jumping into action. Whoa.
As you have learned right now, it is sealed. Is there a possibility that more information, that it might become unsealed?
Good news to the people who watch me on a regular basis. The lag issue seems to have been solved by the move, so I must have better connection here, which is pretty awesome.
Unsealed. Sometimes it's accidental.
Go this apartment building.
We find them and we see them. Sometimes it's deliberate because of some other component of the investigation, maybe a co-defendant or a related case. So sometimes search warrants are unsealed before any type of civil or criminal proceeding is launched. So, yeah, it's possible. Most often, though, search warrants, when signed by a federal judge, are sealed. And we know because we hunt the federal courthouses across the country every day looking for unsealed search warrants, trying to find news. In his statement, the former president called this search a inappropriate search that was motivated by Democrats or political in nature. I just want to give a little bit of the bearings on a federal search warrant. Yes, they can be requested by prosecutors, but they are signed by a federal judge or approved by a federal judge.
All right, let's see Eric Trump responding to this.
To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on Mar-a-Lago, give absolutely, no notice, go through the gate, start ransacking an office, ransacking a closet. They broke into a safe. He didn't even have...
He's complaining about them getting no notice. Yeah, that's the point of a raid. We're going to come raid you, so make sure you clean up any evidence that might hurt you.
Prostitution, illegal drugs, shady deals with everybody around the world. And by the way, it's all on his laptop for the whole world to see. In his own writing, in his own words, corroborated by everybody. Where are these FBI agents? Where is everybody? Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family? Why is it that the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you were being told. What was the purpose for this raid?
Sean, the purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any documents in his possession. And my father has worked so collaboratively with them for months. In fact, the lawyer that's been working on this was totally shocked. He goes, I had such an amazing relationship with these people, and all of a sudden, on no notice, they sent 20 cars and 30 agents. Sean, I mean, this is just more political persecution of Donald J. Trump. They see Biden.
Well, let me go
He's
through
failing
this so in a little
every
detail.
single. Please.
But because I'm assuming, all right, so your father is packing, he's leaving the White House. I don't know. I'm guessing that your dad probably didn't pack a single box. I'm just guessing. You would know better than I. You can tell me if he did or if he didn't. All these boxes, all your personal items get brought down to Mar-a-Lago. There's a question about whether there might be classified information that had been written about a long time ago. Let's walk through the process. So Mar-a-Lago, the people that work for your dad, were working with the National Archives to go through the material to make sure if there was anything mistakenly taken that it was going to be returned. And you were working collaboratively on that. Is that correct?
So when the president moves out of the White House, you have effectively, 6 hours to move out of the White House. It's effectively inauguration time where one president gets moved out and one president gets moved in, right? That's how the whole system works, as you know better than anybody. My father always kept clippings, press clippings. He would have, newspaper articles, pictures, notes from us. When my mom passed away a couple weeks ago, he still had all the notes, over the years had been saved, all the notes that she had ever written him. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. My father saves clippings and things like that. So he had boxes, right, when he moved out of the White House. And he was very collaborative. If you want to search for anything, if you think anything.
Just boxes of classified documents that he wasn't supposed to have,
Sudden 30 agents descend upon Mar-a-Lago. Sean, this didn't come from the...
Again, I have to remind you, if they're doing this, the FBI is going to understand this is a very, very serious and provocative act, and it can't be undone. You can't undo raiding a former president's house. And so that means they have to have something of substance, that they're going after, that they know is there.
Right now, you've got Russia, Ukraine, which is a total disaster. You've got everything that's happening in Iran, which is a disaster. You've got inflation.
Okay.
You've got gas prices.
Guys, definitely, there's something there if their only response or if their primary response is whataboutisms. As I've been listening, I was moving and I was trying to get things just situated here, and so I turned on the news while I was doing that. And the biggest response, and I'm most curious to see what the right wing is saying, their biggest response is like, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? What about him? If there's something that needs to be investigated there, let it be investigated. Okay, great. If he did something wrong, hold him accountable. What does that have to do with what's going on with your father? That has nothing to do with it.
They keep on showing these beautiful clips of people, waving Trump flags outside of Mar-a-Lago, his supporters. When has that ever happened in a political movement in the United States before?
You think back to the Russia hoax, the Russia witch hunt, the conspiracy theory. It went on for 3 long years. Eric, I covered it every single night, and we ended up being vindicated on every single solitary.
Y'all let me know which, do you want to watch more like accurate reporting, or is it fun to see Fox News freaking out? Because I can flip back over to CBS or something.
Otherwise, the Biden administration and the DOJ have crossed a line of no return.
True.
What could they possibly think existed inside of Mar-a-Lago in a box that was taken from the White House?
Okay, quickly, this looks like an interesting moment that happened super recently.
For the FBI to get a warrant and go search Mar-a-Lago, what needs to happen?
The world needs to move. I mean, I can't overemphasize.
Did you hear the question? So this is laying out how serious it is.
What the FBI to get a warrant and go search Mar-a-Lago, what needs to happen?
The world needs to move. I mean, I can't overemphasize to you, John, how big of a deal this would have been within the Department of Justice and the FBI. This is not, a couple of agents.
He's a former FBI deputy director
showing up at some judge's door in the middle of the night to get an emergency warrant. This is something that would have been planned out and reevaluated and legally examined from every possible angle by the entirety of the leadership structure of both organizations. So let's remember that to get a search warrant in any case, whether it's you or I or the former president, you have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe both that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is is contained within the space you have described in your warrant request. So we have, in this situation, a federal judge who made that determination, giving the agents authority to enter that premises and search every part of the premises that might contain the items that are specifically described in the warrant. So if it's, for instance, documents, classified documents, things like that, and we don't know, but that's just a guess, then you could see why they would have the authority to search every space, every drawer, every safe, every closet, every desk that might contain those documents.
All right, Norm Eisen, the reporting from Caitlin here that this raid, this FBI operation, is in relation to the handling of presidential documents, including possibly classified documents. Why might that merit an FBI operation like this at the home of a former president?
Well, John, in America, nobody is above the law. And the federal laws are very clear that anybody who removes, mutilates, or destroys records, it's 18 U.S.C.
This is crazy. What is happening?
Is subject to penalties, including criminal penalties. There's even more strict rules for classified documents being removed.
Yeah, a good question brought up in the chat. Did they check his toilets for some documents?
Official premises, because of the damage that can do to national security. When I was the White House ethics czar, this was one of the first things that we trained everybody in the White House and the administration on, starting with the president and the vice president.
Trump was not listening that day, though.
Because the rules are the same for everyone. Very serious for a search warrant to be served on a former president. It doesn't get any more ominous than that.
All right, we'll go back to the live feed. Oh no, wait, let me go to live.
Oh, Uranium One. You want to talk about, scandals that were never investigated, never vetted? It's the rules for thee and not for me, right? That's the old, Sean, this has been happening since day one. They cannot stand that a guy named Donald Trump, who is a real estate developer, who built tremendous wealth and fame, was able to go into a political system in the U.S. and take out a person like Hillary Clinton. And
thank you so much for the super chat from The World is Insane, which is a great username for today, who said this is a great day with a bunch of little party faces. Now lock them up. To be clear, we're celebrating because of everything we've seen. We truly and genuinely believe this is justice, not because we just want to persecute political opponents.
And that he's in trouble and their political party's in trouble, and that Donald Trump is poised if he wanted it. If he decided to hop back on that stage and wanted it, they know he's poised to win. And guess what? That threatens them, that threatens who they are, and they will do anything they can to take him out, to take me out, to take Don out, to take Ivanka out, to take our family out. They do it every single day. They do it at the state level. They do it at federal level. The FBI does it. They subpoena us. They make our lives hell, Sean, every single day because they are threatened by Donald J. Trump. And honestly, I hope, and I'm saying this for the first time, I hope he goes out and beats these guys again. Because
they have this picture they keep showing. Let me pull it up. It looks really weird. One second.
This is who Venezuela is, Sean. This is Banana Republic antics. Having a home of the 45th president of the United States raided by FBI agents, safes broken open. This is not who we are as a democracy. Imagine if that happened to Barack Obama. The world would be in an uproar.
Well, Eric Trump, I don't know. I think Ari Fleisch is right. If you watch what they've done over the years, they don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. Oh, it actually looks normal because they lied and they tried to take your father out for 3 years, and they used a dirty Hillary dossier to do it.
Well, this is Trump. No, it's not. That's a different photo. What the heck? It looks so similar.
The Hunter's house.
I'm trying to find the photo that they keep showing.
Longer than anybody. Director Ray, I don't know anything about the laptop. And we certainly have a politicized Department of Justice. There's no doubt about it. Eric Trump, thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. All right, we'll get a reaction from Newt Gingrich in just a minute. Here with other reaction and some breaking news on this front. JustTheNews.com.
Wow, let's see what the more reasonable stations are saying.
And we don't deserve
nothing. Okay, back to Fox News.
An allegation from the National Archives of looking for classified information that the president took from him This is an extraordinary departure from the way the FBI handled identical allegations in the summer of 2015. I broke this story back in 2015 at the Washington Times. When the FBI had similar allegations about Hillary Clinton, they allowed David Kendall, Hillary Clinton's lawyer, to take the thumb drive with the classified emails and put it in a safe in his office. He confirmed that on the record to me back in 2015. An entirely different treatment for identical circumstances. Secondly, a lot of people I've talked to, including people in the FBI, are really dubious why a grand jury subpoena wasn't delivered instead of doing a raid. I think Alan Dershowitz covered that perfectly. Third, and this is very important for people to understand, this comes less than a week after the Judicial Watch filed a lawsuit against the FBI saying those declassified documents that President Trump had, that the National Archives has, that the FBI still has, that have never been released, so they were ordered released. Tom Fitton sued them. Today they announced that they've sued to free those documents.
Again, this is the view outside of Mar-a-Lago. People having a little party out there. But I think it's primarily Trump supporters building a crowd out there. I don't know if that music is copyrighted. To show their support for Trump and pretend with every bone in their body that this is just politically motivated when we know that it is not. Interesting stuff. Back to Fox News. Again, we're watching Fox because I feel like it's more funny and interesting to watch their reaction to try to cover for Trump, but I'm totally great to flip off of it if y'all don't like it.
I'll go.
It can be normal in this respect, that the Washington field office may have more evidence about the case, may know more what they're looking for, can do a more targeted raid. So that's not necessarily the thing. The fact that the investigation originates with an office that is currently dealing with political tampering allegations. And it's very important. When Chris Wray was asked about this, he said he found what his office did was very deeply troubling. Not troubling enough to stop the agents from raiding the president today in his
But this
office,
is about the
but deeply troubling
whistleblower.
nonetheless.
Well,
Yeah.
connected to the whistleblower that Charles Grassley was talking about last week.
That's right. It's those allegations that Chris Wray was reacting to. He called those allegations very troubling. He removed the assistant.
Yeah, so we have a discussion, or someone said in the chat, and it's definitely, I think, on everyone's mind, about possible escalation to violence on the right in response to this. I think simply the raid won't escalate to violence, but if Trump were to be charged with something, if Trump were to be indicted, I think that is when you're going to really have to brace for impact, unfortunately.
It doesn't, if we're talking about archives or classified material that either purposefully, which I would doubt, or inadvertently were brought to Mar-a-Lago, it sounds to me like the type of thing you send the archivists down, they go through the boxes of stuff you have and see.
Yeah, clearly there's something more to it. It's just really irritating because if the FBI was investigating Barack Obama, they would all be saying, wow, if the FBI is going to go to these links, clearly there has to be something to it. But no, with this, it's just politically motivated and there's nothing, and it's just a little mistake. He accidentally had a piece of paper in his back pocket when he went home.
He started saying he was just sloppy when he put it in his crotch next to his private parts.
Yeah.
He was sloppy when he
I
put
broke
it
that
by
story.
his
I
backside.
remember well. I was at the Associated Press when I broke that story.
What are we talking
Listen,
about?
There's another factor here. The president is his own ultimate declassifying authority. Without knowing what the president might have been declassified that the FBI doesn't know about, they raided his home. All of the optics are bad on this. All of the procedural things are bad. And I think Alan Dershowitz, the professor, was 100% right. If they don't have smoking gun proof that the president was about to destroy documents, this raid is going to be laughed off. And next year, when Republicans get control, we're going to find out just how political the FBI was on this.
Oh, I think we'll find out before then. I think we'll know by November for sure. The American people deserve to know. John Solomon, as always, thank you. All right, take a look at your screen. We just got this in. Video of the raid this morning on Mar-a-Lago. You can see it right there. Cars coming in. Looks like darker night again, early in the morning. But that's the only footage we have as of now. Here with more reaction is Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich.
That is not what you want to wake up to. Look how it's dark. That's how early in the morning it was. And you roll out of bed and the FBI is there to tear through your stuff. That's not a good morning.
Look, there's clearly a double standard But I think what's even more troubling, and what every American, whether you're Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
If 30 FBI agents can take over the house of a former president of the United States and probable candidate for president, what can they do to you? And when you
Well, guess what? I didn't break federal laws, so I'm not so concerned what they can do to me.
Americans held hostage.
Let's take a look at NBC real quick.
Unfortunately, our adversaries know that. Got it.
Ken, thank you. Still ahead tonight, the desperate search. This 16-year-old vanishing after a large party at a campground.
Not covering it. Interesting. Okay. Back to Fox.
About earlier with taking people off an airplane in chains, having people, a guy standing outside at 3 in the morning in his pajamas.
Thank you to CA for the super chat. You are thebomb.com.
If this government can get away with third world tactics that were Venezuela,
his pitch is weird. If this government
way under Mugabe, if that's the future,
then the
Constitution as a working document has ceased to exist. And I think part of the answer has to be to say to everybody who's going to get very upset, fine, go beat them at the polls in November. The answer to this is get a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and let's rip the corruption. Not just in the FBI, but across the whole system. Let's rip the corruption out. But I have to tell you, I couldn't believe it when I first heard today that 30 FBI agents had invaded Mar-a-Lago when it was totally unnecessary.
Are you kidding me? Invaded Mar-a-Lago? Oh my gosh. And it's funny how they keep going, 30 FBI agents. Yeah, that should show you how serious this is. 30 FBI agents. But I'm sure that's typical for a raid where they're going through such a massive property. So it's just so interesting watching before they've had time to really train up what their covering is going to be and what their talking points are going to be. They're kind of a mess.
Future president, what can they do to you or your cousin or your friends or your neighbors? And I think it's a very scary step towards a police state eliminating the Constitution as a real document.
When you add up, for example, the treatment of Peter Navarro, in his case, we're talking about a misdemeanor, Mr. Speaker. You've been around Washington for a long enough time. Somebody commits a misdemeanor, they have a lawyer, the lawyer is contacted, have your client report at this time at this place. You don't make a scene at an airport to humiliate the individual for a misdemeanor. I would argue the same for a process crime in the case of Manafort or Roger Stone. Certainly a message was sent here, but here's where the double standard comes in. This is why Hunter Biden is important.
Oh my gosh.
This is why Hillary Clinton's 33,000
they can't let go of Hunter
deletions
Biden.
are important. This is why the dirty dossier is important. This
One
is
sec,
why
sorry guys.
lying on FISA applications are important. If I ever lied to a judge, I think I'd be taken out in handcuffs and shackles too. Taken out in handcuffs and shackles too. This is why what Sandy Berger did is important. Now America has a right to ask, okay, why did you do this? Because I can't conceive of what would warrant the Attorney General of the United States and the FBI Director to allow and approve this action. Can you think of what they might have in the box?
Sean, let me let you in on a dirty secret.
Okay.
Tell me.
Everybody keeps trying to understand these people as though they are reasonable. This is the first big government socialist machine at a national level we've ever seen. We saw Tammany Hall in New York.
A quick update. If you hear barking in the background, as I mentioned, I did just move in the middle of moving. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay up late tonight because I'm doing this. No, I'm kidding. This is awesome. But now I'm behind on my unloading. And I haven't recorded the show for tomorrow. But the new apartment building that I'm in has a lot of dogs. I was noticing so many dogs as I was going in and out of the elevators.
They know they're at
which is
war
cool.
with the
I like
American
dogs.
people. They know that overwhelmingly the American people disagree with them. And if they can't find some way to intimidate us, to force us on defense, to tell us to shut up, and that's why they go out and they deliberately humiliate somebody, because you know what that does? That sends a signal to 6 or 8 or 10,000 people. You want to be humiliated? And I have friends now who tell me, serious senior professionals that they're frankly frightened. They don't want to stand up and say they're for documents.
Okay, if they're frightened, it sounds like they've been involved in some fishy stuff. Again, you shouldn't be wrongfully harassed or prosecuted by the FBI, but that's not what's going down here. There's been just time again. When I first saw that the raid was happening, thought it was more in reference to kind of the other January 6th related anti-democratic type things that Donald Trump was doing. And that's the biggest question to me, because even if he does end up getting prosecuted on this, I feel like it's definitely a smaller crime, even though it's serious nonetheless. But still a massive move.
That we live in a post-constitutional America.
Oh,
Sounds
please.
like you agree with them.
Oh, please.
Well, I think we're on a balance. I think if the Republicans win this fall and reassert the Constitution, which is going to mean, frankly, firing an amazing number of corrupt people, then the Constitution will survive.
And also, as was highlighted in that clip we just watched earlier on CNN, they had to go in front of a judge and get a warrant to do this. So, I mean, I know they always think this with everything, but what they're alleging is this massive conspiracy between the judge they worked with, all the people involved in the FBI investigation. It's silly.
And tragic end to the American dream.
Don't you believe at this moment that the FBI Director Wray and that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, owe it to the American people to explain why they authorized the raiding of a former president's house? Don't we deserve some explanation?
No, I don't. No, I think they owe the American people resigning.
No, that's how he talks.
I don't need to.
This is all corrupt. I'm Newt Gingrich. Wait, what's his name? Newt Gingrich.
The fact is, they authorized something that is clearly outside the bounds of the American system.
How? Explain how. I've heard so many people on right-wing media in the last hour claim that this is fraudulent somehow, or this is wrongful or unconstitutional, everything, unlawful. But they're not providing any evidence to that effect. There's no explanation for what leads them to believe this is all politically motivated. It's just, number one, asserting that. Number two, a bunch of whataboutisms. This is all political. And it's all just them trying to go after Trump for being such a strong, brave American. And also, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? What about Hillary Clinton? It's like,
off on it. Very few details. Sean, good evening to you. A White House official telling Fox News the White House did not have notice of this raid and referred us to the Justice Department for any additional information. Sources familiar to...
Again, we heard earlier them getting outraged that there was no notice. What would be the point of a raid if you called ahead of time? Hey, we're going to come look for some classified documents and stuff, so if you got them, hide them from us. Why would you do that?
Properly preserved. A source familiar tells Fox FBI agents went to Mar-a-Lago looking in every single office and grabbed documents and boxes without reviewing them there on property. A source says the FBI agents brought a safe cracker to get into what's described as a
Guys, watching their coverage of this is like a masterclass in making your audience believe that what you're saying is bad by just taking a certain tone. So all of these different things they've listed off, they didn't even go through it on the property. They took it away without looking at the boxes. They went into a safe. It's like, you're not explaining why that's bad. Is that against normal protocol? Is that something that they shouldn't be doing? Is that a violation of certain rights? Because it sounds like to me you're just describing a raid, and they got a warrant to do a raid, and so they were doing a raid. Could you please provide some evidence for why that's so bad?
Staff to cooperate and go through the boxes in a partnership in case maybe something inadvertently that was classified was put in those boxes? Because I'd bet a lot of money that Donald Trump did not pack his own boxes, Mike Emanuel.
Very scarce detail, Sean. Interesting points you are making there. What we know is they're thinking that some documents remained.
And even that point, okay, if you think that Trump didn't actually didn't play a part in the gathering of these classified documents, fair enough. It would still be in the FBI's interest to investigate why they're there and understand the contents of the classified documents that were very intentionally taken from the White House, because this isn't all the documents. This is just very particular ones, a set of them. So why did they want this set, regardless of if you think it was Trump or not? Now, I think Trump was aware, but my point is, if that's your argument, then it still doesn't quite make sense.
He released his statement. He was late.
Thank you so much for the super chat from ZYX. You are amazing. Kisses, hugs, and any other form of affection. Imagine me sending it your way, as long as you consent to that virtual show of affection.
We learned that the former president was here inside Trump Tower. We are outside now, where, of course, things are relatively quiet. And you mentioned those pictures of him exiting today that we got from Fox News Digital. That is the glimpse, the few fleeting images that we have of the 45th president leaving the high-rise and getting into an awaiting vehicle. We have also heard that he may have been going to Bedminster. We're not sure. A source familiar with the raid telling Fox News that FBI agents, as you mentioned, went to Mar-a-Lago and looked in every single office safe and grabbed documents and boxes without going through them on the property. That source saying agents then took several boxes and documents. Now, what happened here, we don't know. If there will be any further activity here in New York, that is a question. As we continue to monitor the situation, you've been talking with Mike Emanuel, who has a lot of that information. We're keeping our ears to the ground here outside Trump Tower and here in New York City, Sean.
All right, Laura Ingle, outside of Fox Tower, New York City tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. The Storm Virgil. Earlier, they had pretended to be outraged at the fact that they didn't let them know in advance that they were coming to raid the home. And the Storm Virgil wrote, "Hello, it's the FBI calling. Do we have permission to come raid you tomorrow around 5 o'clock? Is that okay?" So good.
No, I didn't.
Oh, Kaylee.
No, I wasn't involved
What
in
does she
that
have to say?
process, as Eric Trump noted, and he would have more insight than me on that. It was a quick process. It's a quick turnover, as he noted, about 6 hours shifting in and out. I never witnessed the president packing boxes. I will say this, Sean. What a dark
Watch
day
the airport
for justice,
international
which is
flight,
supposed to be
says
blind,
yada yada
but
dragon. That's awesome.
Overtly political here. You know, the Presidential Records Act, as Jonathan Turley noted, is not used criminally. We haven't seen this. But look back in time at what the FBI and the DOJ did, let's say with Paul Manafort, where Foreign Agent Registration Act was only used 7 times in 50 years until 2008, Paul Manafort, former
Again, listen, we can talk later. Once I have more time to break down the specifics of the laws that he's being investigated for, in this particular case, I can speak to this. But, gosh, burp. Setting that aside, all they want to do over and over and over is whataboutisms. It's not, let's talk about this particular story and what laws you might have broken and if we think it's right or wrong. Instead, it's, well, you know, in other administrations, they didn't look into possible violation. Well, you know, Hunter Biden, well, Hillary Clinton. It's so fascinating. And again, like I said earlier, they haven't had a chance to sort out what their talking points are going to be because this is all happening. But it's like the biggest moment for them to have to kick in as right-wing media and cover for Trump, that it's just a mess right now.
Prism of this. In 2016, we had Hillary's dirty dossier. We know it was
so dirty.
All full of lies. It's been totally debunked. It led to 4 FISA warrants that ruined Carter Page's life, and it was a backdoor to spy on the Trump campaign and the Trump presidency. The media ran with it. They ate it up. They spit it out. They lied repeatedly. That went on for 3 years. Fast forward to 2020, weeks before the election.
What about Hunter? What about Hillary? What about Benghazi?
Laptop,
exactly.
Which turned out to be the laptop from hell and very, very real.
Yep, there we go.
The media.
They're talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. Hey, there's a conversation. Let's talk about Hunter Biden another time. But right now, we're talking about Trump getting raided. What the heck?
Than anybody else, and still seems to do nothing with it.
This is crazy.
And we know there are a lot of things on there that probably would put you in jail, Kaylee in jail, and me in jail, you know, for a pretty long period of time. When you look at the big picture and you stand back, or you look at a bird's eye view, I see a system of justice that has been corrupted, politicized.
Everyone, if you are new-ish to the channel, because we just had the correspondent work, which usually brings some new people, you should absolutely be welcome. Know that you are deeply loved to an extent you probably couldn't even fathom or accept. But I beg you to accept it. And also lots of amazing stuff coming up on the channel. Lots of content streaming your way. I don't mean live streaming, that too, but I mean gushing in your direction. So that's amazing. And what a day to be catching my live stream. Hoorah. Also, if you want to support my show, it's a little operation right now, but we're growing every single day, and I'm very grateful for that. You can do that by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley, patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Become a member. I'll shout you out if you do it while I'm live streaming. And that helps me, continue to make this run and hopefully grow it into something really amazing. And also, you get every single day the full show. I don't release the full show anywhere except for the audio form as a podcast and then the video form on Patreon. So yeah, patreon.com/Luke Beasley. And every day you get the full video show. Because otherwise on YouTube, I upload each story, a clip per story. So you'll still get all the same content if you want to watch it in clip form. But if you want to get the whole thing hours before any of the clips come out, you can do that by becoming a patron.
His second term, and let's get this country back to where people can believe in it. Right now, half of us, if not more than half, just don't believe in justice.
I agree. I totally agree with you. We don't believe in justice because we see people like Donald Trump getting away with things like this. So this is going to make me believe more in justice.
Mar-a-Lago that shouldn't have gone to Mar-a-Lago. Why didn't they just go ask the president?
I can't do that right now.
And we look through the boxes. Why did it have to come to this, Governor?
Well,
it's such a stupid question.
Most clear.
Obviously, okay, you know the answer to that, Sean Hannity. Obviously, because if they reached out to him and said, can we look through some documents? We think that you might be hiding something, or you might have been, taking some classified documents that you weren't supposed to. Then obviously, if you give that, forewarning, the person will have the opportunity to destroy anything that's bad, incriminating, whatever, before you have the chance to look through the documents. So stupid.
Is in the Department of Justice and the FBI. And that's why I believe no less than Trump's reelection and the taking of Congress by the GOP is going to save this country.
I am betting they will have a flimsy argument by tomorrow, and they're probably trying to craft a justification for what they did today, which is unprecedented. Governor, thank you. And Kaylee, of course, thank you as well. We really appreciate your time. But these are unprecedented times. Here with more reaction, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, Outkick founder Clay Travis is with us. Jason, let's get your take. You know a lot about Benghazi and Hillary Clinton and her shenanigans, and I don't remember a raid on her home.
They're bringing up Benghazi? What? This is crazy. Oh my gosh. They are a mess. Oh.
I issued a subpoena trying to get the documents.
What about Benghazi?
And guess what? The IRS never looked at them. That
Shoot,
was the
sorry guys, I keep messing up the screen.
General.
Oh, I'm spazzing out here. This is too much.
Nobody was prosecuted, let alone, a raid on the house.
Oh, what's happening? Come on, work with us.
Of John Koskinen, the IRS commissioner, or Hillary Rodham Clinton. They never did any of that. They barely lifted a finger. So I think one of the key questions is, were they under subpoena?
Thank you so much to the Storm Virgil, who became a patron at patreon.com/Luke Beasley, helping to support the show, build it into something incredible. We're working to do that every single day. Busted my tail, and then only able to because of you guys. So thank you so much to the Storm Virgil for becoming a patron.
Abe's father playing golf. There was nothing about nothing. And one other point,
there was nothing about nothing? What does that mean? What you saying? What?
Agreements at the Department of Justice for Hillary Clinton's senior team, Cheryl Mills, the chief of staff, her attorney, the IT specialist, with no provision that required them to cooperate with the government. That's how the Department of Justice treated Hillary Clinton. They were handing out immunity agreements with no cooperation. And here they go and they do this to the former president of the United States. It is disgusting. It should not stand. And I'm just so ashamed of my country that this department...
I am really scared for what's to come as far as supporters. If you're watching this and being, propagandized into believing this is some horrible violation of all of these different things, and America's falling because of it, you might have a really, really extreme reaction.
Can you think of any possible reason, justification for this raid today that they will give us? Because we're being told that it's all related to classified documents that the president may or may not have had at Mar-a-Lago.
And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the channel, what are we doing? I'm usually not this, what's the word? Ecstatic. But today is a special day, so I'm going crazy. But yeah, definitely hit the subscribe button, you crazy people.
Mar-a-Lago. The only thing I can break down here, and I'm putting my legal hat on to analyze this, they're going to charge Donald Trump with a crime. I don't think you can overlook what's going on here.
True.
Now, what is that crime? That's what many people are asking. What are they going to try to manufacture and bring to bear here? Remember, in order to get this search warrant, they had to find probable cause. A judge, magistrate, someone out there did. Maybe it was based, like much of the Russia investigation was, on flawed warrants. But they had to believe there was reasonable and particular evidence that they were searching for. And Christopher Wray at the FBI and Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, all had to sign off on this. Now, the big question that I think is out there is what are they going to potentially try to charge Trump with? And, Sean, you know
this is the first real analysis I've seen so far on Fox.
Donald Trump stronger because it confirms everything that he's been saying about this corrupt process.
Eric said that the lawyers were not allowed to be in the room with the FBI people.
Yeah.
That's problematic to me. The lawyers were on site.
Horribly so, because we know they will manufacture evidence. They've done it before. Why do we trust that what they say they found at Mar-a-Lago they actually found there? I don't either.
All right, Clay, thank you. Congressman, thank you. Good to hear from both of you. On the phone line right now is the great one, Mark Levin. Mark, I quoted you earlier.
No one wants to hear from Mark Levin.
Many times, I've asked you about it a number of times, a post-constitutional America. Let me put your legal hat on and ask this question. Is there anything that you can possibly think of that warranted this raid on a former president's residence as it relates to archives potentially of classified material when the president, according to his son Eric, was working hand in hand in tandem with the archives people to get them anything that they might need?
All right. First of all, I'm a former chief of staff to United States Attorney General. We would never, ever.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. What just happened? Wait. Stream suspended for policy violations? Oh, it was probably I thought that was Fox and was like, hey. No, it was probably because they were, you know, covering the stream of somebody else. Okay, that's probably it. I'll see if I can find Fox again, but in the meantime, here's the view on the street of Mar-a-Lago. Honestly, not, at least from this view, doesn't seem to be as hectic as I would have expected, but you can tell the law enforcement was expecting something to happen. I know, thanks, Jared. You said you're still here. I was like, wait, did I just get cut off?
Biden's son is smoking crack and fucking little bitches on the fucking all over the internet, and that's okay.
What is happening?
Get out of here. You got videos.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Wait. Okay, let's zero in on that. So the response to Trump getting raided is a different person's son does crack, so Trump shouldn't be raided, and has sex with prostitutes. Great. I mean, if that's something that needs to be investigated, I mean, prostitution obviously shouldn't be something that people are getting charged for, but the crack related or any of his possible fraudulent dealings, sure, look into it. See if I care. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right here. Get out of here.
Let us please let the working man pay for you. Get the fuck out of here.
Get
the fuck out of here. Work for a fucking living. Let's see what the fuck it is.
Holy smokes. Not too happy on the ground at Mar-a-Lago. Let's see here. We're in a what you would call a media desert right now. A bunch of them are on commercial. Is there a particular right-wing station y'all want to check out? Hey, look, Doug, he has come back to... Oh, let's see what they have to say. Interesting.
No. A mí no me gusta hablar. No, porque se dijeron la verdad es distinto. Pero yo sé que voy a decir algo entre mamá. Está en vivo, señora, no hay cómo cambiarlo.
I'm gonna get a new feed. Just give me one quick second.
Está en vivo, todo en vivo. ¿Quieres hablar? No. No. Okay.
They won't bite him for the police track bike crash. Come on, let's go. Give another fentanyl.
All right. Okay, so if you're jumping on right now, I'm sure you are aware, but Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago in Florida has been raided, unprecedented, unbelievable, believable, but crazy. And the point that I will continue to make is the FBI has to go get a warrant. Just so you know, if I'm spazzing and looking at other places, I'm trying to get other stuff for us to look at and keep up with. But obviously, for the FBI to go through the process of raiding with a big team of FBI agents the home of a former president, there has to be something serious there that they're looking into. Serious substantive information, evidence they have. Otherwise, they wouldn't risk it. I'm just telling you, they would not risk making such a scene. And so I'm pretty confident that they have something real. They just want to not go through all of this if it was kind of a wing and a prayer. Hold up, everything's freezing. All right, here we go.
Breaking news: former President Donald Trump saying
I timed that perfectly.
Has raided his Mar-a-Lago resort. Mr. Trump saying a short time ago that the FBI has carried out an unannounced raid at his home at the Florida club and that they even broke into his safe. The reports coming in, what they may have been looking for. Also tonight, Senate Democrats narrowly passing that landmark bill with big changes.
Okay, we don't care about that right now.
Prescription prices and your taxes. Republicans warning it's too much spending. But will it give Democrats momentum in the midterms now, less than 100 days away? Police.
Let me warn to people in my chat who we would call our beloved conservative friends who like to show up in my chat, which I love you guys for being here. I love hearing your perspective. If you say nonsense, I don't ban. I have a policy of not banning as of now until it becomes a necessary thing. I don't ban, but I will blow a gasket, as they say, at stupidity in my chat tonight.
There. The family of Gabby Petito filing a wrongful death lawsuit. Why they're seeking $50 million.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get another feed, but we have had a massive, or I should say massive dumps, just humongous, gargantuous, massive dumps of Patreon members flooding in the last short bit. Thank you so much to Jim Henry. Again, the Storm Virgil, one more time, thank you so much to you as well. Chris Mathewson and Wayno Girini, all becoming members at patreon.com, helping to support the show. As I will continue to say, your support's absolutely necessary. A bunch of crazy stuff is going on in the life of me right now. And so keeping this all going and growing and thriving is quite the feat. And so having you guys support it is absolutely appreciated. Thank you so much to BR Madden for the super chat as well. Plus, if you do become a member at patreon.com/Luke Beasley, you get daily, boom, Monday through Friday, full shows. So I upload the stories on my YouTube channel in clip form, right? So you get one story and one video. If you want the entire show hours before any of those clips are uploaded, you can be on Patreon at patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Okay, let's get back to the news.
Has not confirmed if Trump is the subject of this investigation, but in order to execute a search warrant, the FBI would have had to receive approval from a judge.
What's that noise?
Believing there to be probable cause.
I promise that's not on my end.
The New York Times says the investigation appears to be focusing on the relocation of materials from the White House after Trump left office, material that was potentially classified.
I'll get a new feed, y'all. Just hang in there.
Calling the search
So much
not
going. Look at
necessary
him.
or appropriate. Vaughn Hilliard, NBC News.
And another major story we're following tonight, Democrats celebrating
No, we don't want to talk about that right now, even though I'm really excited about that.
The sweeping bill narrowly passed by Democrats in the Senate and expected to clear the House this week, addressing climate change, the economy, and health care. But Republicans are warning against more spending in the shaky economic reality we are living in. We get more from Ali Vitale.
No, it's all paid for. The whole bill is paid for.
Democrats victorious, if a little weary, after a marathon weekend.
It was a long night, it was a long month, it was a long year, but we got it done.
A nearly 22-hour Senate session that culminated in the
Hold up,
passage
y'all.
of a
I'm
sweeping
working on it.
healthcare, climate, and economic bill. $430 billion in spending with unprecedented climate and energy investments.
I have never seen or anticipated.
Let's see. What's this?
And tell you what our specifics are. I can tell you I have hundreds of AR-15 rifles. Chief Stewart just ordered more rifles at our meeting last Friday. I have made equipment available to these ISDs should they need them.
What you need hundreds for?
Rifles, I'm going to let them use my AR-15 rifles. But again, I'm not going to. I can tell you I have everything. I have everything I need to take care of our kids out here and take care of our communities. And the things I don't have, you won't hear about.
And are you talking about like stationing officers at schools, in schools, near schools?
Yep.
Kind of tell us the detail of what.
All right, let's quickly get to a little moment here.
Breaking. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, this is incredibly significant. And of course,
A very significant headline that you are breaking. What more can you tell us?
yeah, this is incredibly significant. And of course, we should note that when the former president confirmed that, yes, this raid did happen on his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, he did not specify why exactly this raid happened. So we are still trying to confirm that. Of course, I know you mentioned the missing documents from the National Archives and the concerns about that. So that remains to be seen. I will note that in this statement where the former president confirmed to me that, yes, FBI agents did conduct a raid at Mar-a-Lago today, he said it was a large number of a large group of FBI agents. He says that he believes this is a politically motivated event that happened, this search of Mar-a-Lago. Of course, we're waiting to hear from authorities why they conducted this search, how they got this search warrant, and of course, what the reason is behind it. I will note, he does give one detail in here that is notable. He says, quote, Aaron, I'm going to read this now. Such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries. He says, quote, they even broke into my safe.
Well,
now, Aaron,
okay.
he does not say what they were
There might be
looking
something
for,
in there
what
that
they
they
wanted to
need.
get, if they took anything from that safe, but it is notable that he says they did even break into his safe. In this statement, I should note, when he does not say what the reason is for this raid, he does reference Hillary Clinton's emails. Of course, that has long been an obsession of the former president's. He said nothing happened to her to hold her accountable, talking about what she took from the White House. So that could be an indication that this is related to the National Archives. But again, we are still waiting to find out more, though Trump has confirmed to me that, yes, this raid was conducted on Mar-a-Lago today.
Guys, I can't express to you how weird this is. So many of the different channels are covering different stuff right now. It's really weird. I feel like this would be the story of the night for the entire night. But I'll get something up here quickly. So just to those hopping on now, Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home raided. Crowds seem to somewhat be building, at least police presence around Mar-a-Lago to keep everyone in line. Let's see. Get something up here. Donald Trump, of course, is calling this politically motivated, but there doesn't seem to be evidence to that effect. Right-wing media is losing it, having a hard time making a clear case for why this is all horrible and terrible and fraudulent. And that's what we got. Let's see. Yeah, look, NBC just...
Late summer is traditionally flash flood season, but 2022's events are increasingly
covering something completely different.
Setters.
Climate change is making it easier for the heaviest rains to become even heavier. And this summer is a good example of that trend, which has been playing out over decades.
More rain in a shorter time. Parts of Denver got more than 2 inches Sunday, much of it coming in just an hour, swamping streets.
Nikki said you can call it whataboutism, but it's actually public information available to the public and press, the First Amendment. All right, I warned you. What are you even talking about? Public information, that has nothing to do with it. I'm saying that you should not be trying to obfuscate from the issue at hand by saying Hunter, Hillary, Benghazi. No, talk about now. What is going on? Those are separate issues. Those can be addressed too. Those can be thought about. Those can be talked about. Yes, but it shows a level of not being able to give an honest analysis of the news that just broke whenever you pointed everything else, when you pointed all the different squirrels. That's exactly what it is, okay? Nikki. Try Fox Business. Okay, thanks.
Hour compared to 1970. Rainfall intensity increasing 13%. The storms wreaking havoc with an already stressed airline system. Today, cancellations more than 600, delays over 4,000.
They just kept saying weather, 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 weather.
As America copes with a summer of uncertain skies. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
And as we cover all that severe weather, there are new flash flood alerts tonight in eastern Kentucky, an area still recovering from a disaster that killed at least 37 people. Today, President Biden visiting. Our Kathy Park is there.
Tonight, the historic floodwaters have receded.
I'm focusing on it, Luke. Love the passion. Oh, you are? Cool. I just want to see the warrant. What do you mean see the warrant? For this raid? I'm sure it's there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to, you think there wasn't a warrant or something, or you just want to confirm? Live now from Fox is covering it. Figure out how to watch Fox Live. Let's see. Watch. I'm having a hard time. There was feeds, but it looks like they got shut down because they were streaming Fox's coverage. Reuters? Is Reuters good? Let's see. We'll get it. Y'all just hang in there. I know this is the feed from Mar-a-Lago, but they're not doing like news coverage. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, mayhem. Not really. They're just kind of hanging out, showing their support. I don't feel like as many people showed up as they had expected to, if that makes sense. No. I want to see where they want to look and what they want to look for. Usually a warrant will show that. Interesting. Yeah, so this is on the ground footage from Mar-a-Lago right now.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch to a network with more 5G bars in more places so you can experience your music whether you're...
That's hilarious. Love break, good times, come on. Wow, 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 wow. All right, we're gonna get CNN on in a second here. If it'll load. I am putting my computer through more than it is used to right now. So yeah, a little bit of support being shown on the ground for Trump, but not anything crazy. Or profound, but if any of you guys know of a feed that I can tune into that is good, that would be awesome. Because a lot of these aren't covering it right now. What the heck are you doing? Ba 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 ba. Yahoo. But we will find something in just a second here. Again, I wish they would do some interviews with people on the ground. What do you think about this?
Best president we've ever had this country.
We've ever had this country.
I called this 2 months ago. They were going to have him arrested so this way they can't run for president. They're dirty
this is
people.
pitiful.
The socialists, they're just horrible people. They have the devil in them, and they're all going to burn in hell one day.
Oh my gosh, holy smokes. Calm down. They're all gonna burn in hell.
If you don't trust any politicians, where are the signs? No.
Don't want any cameras. Because I'm not I'm not protesting politics. We all appreciate that you there for him.
Where at least I know I'm free. Alright, we're getting the feed. Here we go. Next to you and defend her still today. I'm gonna get so copyrighted on this, guys, what we're about to watch. Hey. Ooh, yeah. All right. Let's see. How do I do live feed? This is so irritating, you guys. Boom, 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 boom. Anderson Cooper, would he be live right now? No. This event has ended. Unfortunate. Dang, people weren't covering this very long. Can I drastically change the mood and let's watch something pretty funny that I'm sure won't get copyright stricken? Lol, Kung Furry, I will die on this hill. Super funny. Interesting. If we can't find anything else, your CPAC footage. Oh. We can watch my CPAC interviews, but I feel like there's more to be done. There's more to be talked about. But that might be everything without me just grabbing like cable TV coverage, because I don't know how that would go as far as getting copyrighted. We don't want this. Wow. Okay, so I'm really curious to see what the next steps are, because if they're comfortable enough and confident enough to raid him, they're gonna know that people are gonna be itching for answers, and that's not what they're doing it for. They shouldn't be considering public opinion and stuff like that. But I do think for the purposes of this level, this significant of investigation, you're gonna have to kick it into gear and boom, 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 boom. Newsmax, here, let me see if I can grab onto Newsmax. Guys, they have a really scammy looking website. When I went on there, it was kind of weird. But let's see. All right, Newsmax is live. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, they're on commercial. So once they come back from commercial, we should have some good content there. late night hosts are going to have a field day after this. I totally agree with you. While we're waiting for Newsmax to come back live, don't forget to become a patron at patreon.com/Luke Beasley to support the show and get the full show, which no one gets to see the full video form except for patrons. Everyone else just gets the clips uploaded later on YouTube. So that supports the show and gives you extra content. Plus, I do a bonus show once a week for those individuals as well. So you can do that by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Good stuff. Okay, here we go.
Unbelievable. The FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago, President Trump's residence, official residence, today, August 8th, 2022. I don't think I'll ever forget this day. The FBI, I thought they were the good guys. One of the most absurd things I've ever seen. But we live in an absurd country, actually, in many, many ways. Donald Trump...
Why is this... Guys, this is irritating me. Let me...
...presents what we can become. And a little bit what we used to...
Thank you so much for the super chat from Mysterious Monolith, who said, thanks for streaming this, Luke. Absolutely. It's my pleasure and honor, except I'm angry at each and every one of you, just a little bit, because I'm hungry. And I was thinking about what I was going to eat, and then I realized, oh no, I need to get on and stream this. But it's so fun. It's too much.
States right after
also,
a riot.
I live in an apartment building now, starting today. And so can't exactly just DoorDash and eat while I'm streaming. I have to go out and get it. Oh.
To this moment, when Millie apologized, take a look.
Many of you saw the result of the photograph of me at Lafayette Square last week. That sparked a national debate about the role of the military in civil society. I should not have been there. My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception
I remember
of military
this was crazy.
in domestic politics.
He's either insane or he's an insurrectionist. An unelected... Nobody voted for Mark Milley. Nobody. One day he joined the army. That's it. And people in the army promoted him. He's not a Democrat figure at all. And he...
Doug just said in the chat, write your address and see how many pizzas show up for you. I see what you're trying to do, Doug. You're trying to use my hungry self to send my address to people who, while I assume y'all are all delightful and sweet, there could be a creepo, which I've already had, which is weird for the size of my channel, the fact that I've already had some less than ideal interactions with people who take a interest in me, I should say, maybe.
And mentor them.
That's not the military. Uniform. E pluribus unum. From many, one. We wore a uniform. It didn't matter what we looked like. This guy's crazy. All of it is insane.
Sam said, congrats on the apartment. Thank you. You can always take a moment to grab a snack if you need it. We'll be here. The unfortunate thing is I don't actually have any snacks that I could go grab because I haven't moved it. You know, like all my shelves are empty still. I'm yet to go to the store.
Understand. Something else that's in the news today. Milley wrote a very strong letter to President Trump, but did not send it. Did not send it. He was very upset. And he said all kinds of nasty, tough things to President Trump, but he didn't send it. No, but he did send it to this guy, some guy named Peter. Yeah, I could see Milley sending a note to this guy, not to Trump, because...
What was that?
Well, he's not that strong. Our world is so crazy. We see that Joe Biden is suffering. We see he's losing. But what does Peter Baker, who writes for the New York Times and is a fake news guy, and the rest of them, what are they saying right now about Joe Biden?
We begin with that monumental victory for President Biden.
President Biden is a bit on a winning streak right now.
We have some really good news. Gas prices.
Okay, so I'm seeing the chat. The dog mother, what are you asking to send? Can you email to one of us he knows? What am I sending? And I'm happy to do it. What's up?
By COVID, including what he's
what am I doing? Tell me what I'm doing.
With gas prices coming down, a decline that we haven't seen like this in over a decade.
As far as the Democrats go right now, we're seeing drops in gas prices. We're seeing a historic bill getting passed through the Senate, which is definitely going to pass the House pretty soon and get signed into law. that's good. That's a good week, you know?
Go, she writes. And even Chris Coons, you saw him a moment ago from Delaware, Joe Biden's protege, cannot bring himself to say Joe Biden should run for president.
I'm hopeful that President Biden will run again. If he does, I'll certainly support him.
So no doubt, are you encouraging him to run again?
I'm encouraging him to focus on what's right in front of us.
Focus, Joe, focus. Did he really say that? Do these folks ever tell the truth? All right, so Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Dude, that's my question to you, my man. What are you doing with your life? Oh, look at little Joseph. Little Joseph Robinette. Get that jacket on. Can someone help him with that jacket? Oh my gosh, that was so adorable.
And who is not in decline, he's getting better. He even looks better, and his candidates are winning.
He even looks better.
Now everybody
Trump?
can see what a
Who,
vastly superior president he was, not only to Biden, but to all the rest of them.
Okay,
Take
he's
a
not...
look at the numbers. Where was inflation under...
He's not really covering... Are you kidding me? You're comparing inflation under Trump before the pandemic to after, whenever under Trump they spent trillions of dollars to hold up the economy. Trillions pumped into the economy while Trump was president. Obviously, that's going to cause inflation. That is not a Republican or Democratic thing. So irritating. I know this is all very relevant to the... Mar-a-Lago raid. I agree with you. Okay, are they talking about it now?
Raided the home of former President Trump.
Oh my God.
This is crazy stuff.
It's so heartbreaking.
Crazy. I'd like to bring in, and I'm so grateful he's here, Joe DeGeneva, former U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. Joe, your reaction to what happened today and what's happening now?
What we are witnessing is a legal atrocity.
Oh, please.
This should have never happened. Can you imagine a former president of the United States has his residence raided by, I am told, 100 FBI agents?
Yeah, that is amazing, and it shows you how huge of a moment we're in and how likely they have some very compelling evidence and a reason to be investigating him to such an extent.
Used to resolve this rather than further negotiations, or if necessary, a subpoena or a civil suit. To execute a search warrant which requires proof of a crime and evidence that evidence of a crime is present
the dog mother.
at the scene
requires
you to go to a federal judge. Can you imagine
I'm scrolling
ever
through
having done that with any other
what am I
former
sending?
president?
Send your address.
This
oh no, that's
is
all
the
right.
end of the FBI.
That is so sweet that y'all are wanting to buy me dinner, but no, thank you. That's so sweet, but no worries. I'll figure it out.
Good reasons, technically, for a search warrant, but you do not do that to a former president of the United States.
If he committed,
what this tells me.
Perfect. So I want you to say clearly, sir, that you don't believe a former president should be held accountable for anything. Because if you're saying you cannot raid a former president, you're not putting any context. You can say, I don't think they should raid him because I don't think he did a crime. That's one thing. But just to say they cannot raid a former president, well, that just shows that, well, one, you're probably just inconsistent. But if you actually held that belief, then you would think that the president's above the law, which we shouldn't have a situation where they are.
Happened with just the approval of the FBI director and the attorney general. The president of the United States was advised that this was going to occur.
The Storm Virgil, thank you.
So I can't believe we got to discuss this, and I think it's all a sham. What if the president were indicted? I mean,
yes.
What if President Trump were indicted? Can he run for president under federal indictment? And I know we don't know what it might be for, but it seems obvious, as you just said, that that's where this is going.
To those tuning in, we are checking in on right-wing media to see how they're responding to this massive news, and they are, their brains are melting, frankly.
Felon, I don't expect him ever to be one. I think what is occurring now is clearly political in nature. The fact that the FBI is allowing itself to be used in this process is disgraceful. Two great institutions, the FBI and the Department of Justice, are now wallowing in muck. This is unbelievable political muck, which they should never be involved in. You turn this down. You do not do this if you're FBI director. You say, Mr. Attorney General.
The dog mother, you are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Do not need to do this to a former president of the United States. But they're doing it because they can, and because they're exercising power in the worst form. This is the power to destroy.
So tell me,
we used to see
it's more likely in your mind that the FBI is deciding to do something that will forever delegitimize them, which would be to fraudulently or falsely raid and prosecute a former president. You think that's more likely than them just having a lot of evidence of crimes that Trump has done? Really?
to frighten and intimidate. To see this done against a former president of the United States is so outrageous that I cannot find words to describe it.
It just breaks
It's
his little heart.
unbelievable. I can't believe this is happening in the United States of America.
It is one of those moments. I can't believe it either. You know what, though? They are messing with the wrong guy, Donald Trump. He cannot be those things. I don't think he can. And I think he's going to win. But this is scary, and this is very weird. Do me a favor. Stick around. We're going to be joined by other patriots coming up, including the former Attorney General Matt Whitaker, Mike Grinnell, and Rick Grinnell, and some others. So can't believe we're here, but it's wild, and we're going to get through it.
They're just heartbroken. They are just heartbroken. Let's take a little bit of a look again outside of Mar-a-Lago. What the heck is going down there? Let's see here.
What do we want? Nobody's even home. That's private property? Yes, that's property.
Whoa, that was an intense voice. Yes, I'm gonna. Holy smokes. Thank you so much to the super chat from Ha Zev the Wolf, who said, "Persevere, young man, carry on, loving this stream. Thank you so much, you're amazing." Oh, this is from earlier, huh? Let's see. So this is the view outside of Mar-a-Lago. The Trump part of the country is likely heartbroken, but their feelings cannot get in the way of justice. That's my view. I'm talking so weird tonight. What the heck? Okay, let's see if NBC News has anything that we want to look at here. Live.
Tom? All right, Guad Venegas first. Guad, we thank you for that. There are new flood alerts tonight in parts of the Ohio Valley and near Washington, D.C.
Nothing. Preston Ringrose, thank you so much for the super chat, who said this is the second time he's been raided. Really? What was the first time? I'm not remembering that. Okay, let's see. Greg Kelly. It's hilarious, the ads they have on these channels. On Nixon's resignation anniversary. I know, that's really, really crazy. Really interesting. We covered a story that I just saw them mention about what they suspect to be a line of killings targeted towards Muslims in Albuquerque. Ugh, just so heartbreaking. A fourth man was killed, and they think it's someone targeting Muslims and just killing them in cold blood. I just saw that pop up, and it reminded me of the story I did earlier. I'm surprised I haven't heard shotguns being shot in the air. I'm deep rural north of Alabama, lol. I'm high A2. Okay, well, that would be quite the reaction from right-wingers to be like, no, Trump's home got raided. I don't know. I am afraid of violence breaking out, but I don't know if it'll just be people shooting their shotguns in the air. He was raided 5 to 6 months ago. Oh, by the National Archives. Was that a raid or just them going to collect documents? I don't know. I don't know what people shoot in the air for. I know. Anyone who ever shoots a gun in the air, to me, it just is weird. I could see it, though. If you had a gun and you just wanted to shoot it somewhere safe. Is it safe in the air? I saw them on Mythbusters attempting to see if that's something that could fall down and kill people. Was it Mythbusters? Maybe it was Mythbusters. Really fascinating. I thought we moved past targeting Muslims. Oh, no, we haven't moved past so many of these horrible instincts that, well, not instincts, but horrible inclinations that certain people have in our country. Again, this is a a look outside of Mar-a-Lago. People showing their support for Trump. And the police making sure everything's calm and sound. FBI is trying to take away from International Cat Day. Is it International Cat Day, really? Very fascinating. So if you're just hopping on, it looks like most of the major channels have stopped covering this directly and have moved to other news. So we're trying to continue the coverage, but less consistent content going. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for something else to turn on, a reminder, if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. I'll shout you out here, and it'll help me continue to obviously run the day-to-day, but then also hopefully make it something that's more full-time and all that type of stuff. So, and in addition to just supporting me, which I'm sure is a massive motivator, you also do get a daily full show that no one else has access to. That is all the stories that I release on YouTube later, but you get them early and you get them in full show form. Okay, Luke Beasley, if you're using Vivaldi browser, it auto skips YouTube ads. Oh, I have a YouTube Premium, so I don't have YouTube ads. I watch enough YouTube where that was a reasonable decision for me. Cat Day is not fascinating, Luke. Obviously, I was being sarcastic, Jimmy. I feel bad for you that you did not pick up on that. Arrest Joe Biden is what they're shouting. Very fascinating. For what crime, sir? All right, let's jump over to Newsmax, which is having a hard time processing this news.
Conservatives and Republicans are prosecuted, and at the same time, the left gets away with all sorts of things. And so I'm saddened for our country. I think this is just an unnecessary step. I heard my friend Joe Geneva talk earlier about other ways that these documents, if so important, could have been obtained. And it's disappointing that the Attorney General and the FBI Director would take it to this level.
Joe, as I turn it back to you, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, just put out a tweet.
Oh.
And it reads as follows. The raid of Mar-a-Lago, MAL abbreviates, is another escalation in the weaponization of federal agencies against the regime's political opponents. While people like Hunter Biden get treated with kid gloves, now the regime is getting another 87,000 IRS agents to wield against its adversaries. Banana Republic.
Again, if you're just hopping on, their only response to this is a bunch of whataboutisms. It's a bunch of what about Hunter Biden? What about Hillary Clinton? And as I'll continue to say, listen, if you want to talk about that at some point in a separate conversation, let's do it. But whataboutisming yourself, that's the word, whataboutisming yourself up a tree to try to ignore the facts of this situation is not the most honest take, I would say.
This was so unnecessary, so crude, and I mean crude, so Banana Republic, so third world, so disgustingly crude that you have to ask
No, you know what's Banana Republic and third world is a president who loses every single official process in which you understand and analyze and certify an election, found that he lost. He loses an election and then he rallies up his crowd and his followers to believe that it was stolen based on no evidence, to the point where a certain number of them storm our highest governmental building based on lies, and he works behind the scenes to try to recognize alternate slates of electors to effectively try to throw our country into chaos because he didn't want to accept the fact that he lost an election. That is a Banana Republic. Him being held accountable for crimes is not a Banana Republic. That's actually how you keep your country healthy, is you uphold rule of law.
Verbally, totally over the top, totally divorced from reality. They use that.
Thank you so much to Leslie. who said, sent a super chat and said, "Much love, my brother from another mother." Absolutely, Leslie. "It sure feels good to be a Democrat in Kansas. There's no Hunter Biden laptop. Prove me wrong. I dare ya." And if there is, I'm totally fine for him being prosecuted if there's something bad on there. I don't have any stake in Hunter Biden. I just don't think he's relevant to this conversation.
Talking about, and the New York Times was talking about how President Trump had tried to flush documents down the toilet. This is something that, the left.
Oh, we got photos of that.
All of their tools, whether it's the media and whether now the law enforcement assets of the FBI and the DOJ.
Yeah, great point, Steve. Steve said, "Didn't like 6 right-wing hosts claim to have the laptop?" Yep. About every person said they had gotten the drive or had their hands on the laptop, and then we just stopped hearing about that. So if they really did have it, then they should have released whatever incriminating information was on it, right? But again, I'm not saying that Hunter Biden is in the wrong. I'm sure he seems like he could have definitely done things that were not good. And I think there's also tax fraud stuff going on with him. So cool, investigate, prosecute, I don't care. If he did a crime, then hold him accountable for it. That's just not relevant to whether or not Trump should be investigated.
Doing this. Let's take another live look, if we could, at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, we just lost it. But that beautiful resort, and, they went into his safe. Oh, quick question before we go, and then I'd like to hold you over. Is there any, if they find something else, is it only limited to what's in the warrant? Let's say they find something that's related to some other matter. How much leeway do they have, Joe?
Well, first of all, we are told that they simply seized documents without reading them. They took apparently 50 to 100 boxes of documents out of Mar-a-Lago without looking at them, and took the contents of the president's safe. That means that they're going to look at them elsewhere. So they don't even know what they've seized at this point.
Well, I don't get the outrage. I was saying earlier, but I know probably a lot of the people watching now weren't watching earlier. This is so fascinating watching the right wing's response to this, because it's like they don't yet have the talking points and the information necessary to put up even a bad argument. So instead, they just say sentences with the tone of voice as if it's an outrage without explaining why it's an outrage. And so it's like, they seized documents and they didn't look at them. There's no explanation. Why is that bad? Is that not within their legal bounds? Nothing. It's just they seized documents and they didn't read every single one on the property. So then the audience is like, their tone of voice is angry, and I like Trump, so now I'm angry, but I don't really know why.
Here we have cups of coffee from the same pot. These are more expensive. This one, just $1. Which would you buy?
Oh, whoops. We don't want to listen to this.
It's simple, right?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't read hundreds and hundreds of pages before taking them, says Charles. Precisely. That guy's a liar because they had to have probable cause to get the warrant. 100%. Pretending like this is just some wackadoodle, whim effort to attack Donald Trump is silly. They had to give a judge the reasoning and the probable cause that they had to be going for a warrant for this raid. And so clearly there's something significant there. Clearly they believe they have reason to do such a raid, and they have reason to believe they'll find something because of it. So anyways, it's been really fun watching right wing's response because it's pretty incoherent. Okay. While we're waiting for them to come back on, is there anything, do we want to check out interviews real quick from my time at the rally? I don't know if that's something that will garner as much interest, but I'm happy to check it out. Let's see. So I'm going to do a segment on this tomorrow, and I'll deliver kind of my larger message. So we'll just watch them now. But I do want y'all to know, like, these people are human beings. They're misled, but don't believe them to be something horrible or anything like that. And I had really good conversations with them offline. after I was done interviewing them, where they're just, many of them are delightful people. They're really sweet. They're just misled, you know? Okay, rally footage. So let's go ahead. We're going to skip one of them. Let's see. Hold up. We're going to be watching my interviews with Trump supporters at CPAC, but I'm just trying to get it queued up. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. And I have never before seen Pacman cut off part of one of them that we'll show, but first let's take a look at this. Come on. Who was a standout so far in speakers?
I enjoyed quite a few of the speakers. So, you know, I mean, Ted Cruz was certainly animated. Some of the speakers I didn't actually know, but, you know, a lot of good information, you know, those types of things.
And obviously Trump is about to speak this evening on that topic. Do you want him to run in 2024?
I would expect him to run, you know, whether it's Trump or DeSantis. You know, somebody that cares about our country is definitely needed. You know, Trump has stood in front of the buzzsaw that's been hitting our country, so we do owe him our respects for that and gratitude. You know, if he's going to continue doing it and wins the nomination, I'll certainly support him.
So nothing crazy there. That was probably the most chill and reasonable guy I talked to. Everyone was chill. And to the people saying, no, you shouldn't say that they're sweet, they are. And I know you guys, and I'm with you that they cause us harm in the sense that they support politicians who support bad policies. I'm with you on that. But you have to recognize they are individuals of their circumstances, and they really are trying to do the best they can do. Some of them are hateful, but some of them are not. And that's what I was picking up on being there at the rally. So, all right, this one, Pacman, and even on my segment tomorrow, I probably won't show the whole thing, but Pacman showed like a minute of it. We have 4 minutes of it. So a bunch of stuff that no one's seen, that we'll show right now. Oh, I talked with this lady, just so you know, for 20 minutes on camera. 20 minutes. She just had so much to say. It was crazy. Who have been some standout speakers from your perspective?
Lauren Boebert. I don't know if I'm saying
To be clear, I had to cut that, not because there was a part I didn't want to say, because she said for like a super long time, and I just wanted to kind of help her move quicker.
And obviously I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. Nigel Farage, obviously, he's always great. He's always a great asset to CPAC, getting the British voice in there, the British conservative voice.
So you mentioned that you enjoyed Marjorie Taylor Greene and you like her. Nail down for me, because it always baffles me. What is it that resonates with conservatives about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I think that she just is not afraid of speaking the truth and not afraid of being politically, quote unquote, incorrect. What she says is right. I mean, do I agree with every single thing? Nobody's black and white. Everybody has areas of gray in life. Life is gray. But I do think that her courage, and most Republicans, I hate to say this, but most Republicans who've been in the fold for all these decades and decades in politics, they kind of just tout the same thing, and they're full of bullshit. No, on my life, say bullshit. They're full of. They're just sitting on their, in their golden parachute.
I love that.
Collecting.
Okay, you can't see this probably because I think I held it in. But when I was interviewing her and she said they're sitting in their golden parachute, because obviously that's not the correct phrase of golden parachute or usage of golden parachute. I almost busted out laughing, but I was like, please hold it in.
Living for 20, 30 years in Washington, and they really don't do anything. And here you have these outliers that come in, they do things, they're not afraid of being politically incorrect, saying what the people want to hear. And I think that that's like the young blood in Congress of the Republicans. Matt Gaetz, the same thing, be offended. Yeah, be offended. Like, it's your choice to be offended or not, that's what I like. They're not the people, the Republicans who just want to always, when you have leaders, there's two kinds of leaders.
This part was hilarious. She just starts going all over the place.
there's the leaders that they stand with they walk ahead, and they're like I'm saying this wrong. They're like dog walkers, right? There's the dog that walks in front of you and the dog that walks behind you.
Okay.
And I feel like the old-time politicians, that they're always looking, what's everybody doing? Which way is the wind moving? And that's the way that they move. And the new ones, the young ones who are not afraid to speak up, they say, this is what we believe in, and the people will follow us, not looking which way the people are going or which way the room is turning. And that's what I like about the young conservative congressional members.
You mentioned Matt Gaetz. What are your thoughts on the investigation into him about the possible child sex trafficking?
Well,
do you think it's just
it's
politically
just
motivated or something?
Smear campaign. Why don't you investigate Hunter Biden? Do we investigate Joe Biden?
Thank you to everyone in the chat commenting on my my fit, on my outfit. Thank you very much.
His own son calls him a pedophile. His own son. Your own son? Your son knows you everything.
I don't know what
he's
this
a pedophile.
is in reference to.
We have a president of the United States whose son calls him Pedophile Peter. We care about Matt Gaetz. He might have had sex with a 17-year-old when he was 19.
No.
Give me a break.
You saw me nod there. I was like, because what they were investigating him for was when he was much older, having sex with a 17-year-old.
I don't even know if it's true. I don't know. I don't believe anything the media says. So, I think it's just fake news. So.
Then thank you so much to Hazev the Wolf sending a super chat and saying, I'm redoing this super chat because YouTube picked up on my old credit card number. Interesting. Thank you so much. If the mainstream media is out, I'm assuming, then where would you find kind of the news that you get and the information that you trust?
Mostly like podcasts and, mostly podcasts and just filtering a lot of what the media says, and then not believing 95% of it. So if they say a plane crashed, I believe that the plane crashed if I see the debris. But if they see say
the dog mother said, I'm afraid for Luke thinking that these people aren't so bad. Luke, these are horrible people. Listen, you need to understand, the media people, most of them are horrible people. The leaders are horrible people, and many among these could be as well. But I'm telling you, based on all of the relationships in my life and all of the times I've been on the ground at events like this, most of them are good-hearted people who are very much misled. I'm just telling you that. Some of them aren't, and that's probably who you're thinking of. Some of them are delightful, misled, sweet people.
A plane crash, and this is who was driving, and this is who was this, and the nitty gritty, it doesn't really.
Sweet boy Luke, they will tear your eyes out if they know you're gay. I mentioned that to one of them, and he was totally kind about it, and he said, well, freedom's about you doing what you want to do. And I was like, awesome. Again, tons of them have horrible, problematic views. Many of them do as well, but they're not dangerous or anything like that. They're really, really kind people. I promise you. Any of y'all have an open invitation. If you hear that I'm going to an event like this and you want to go show up and hang out with me and walk around and meet them, I'm telling you. Plus a lot of my family and friends. No, Luke, bring a brown Muslim or Muslima. You want to see evil? I'm telling you, even someone who is, obviously they can't know I'm gay by looking at me, but they would know that you're Muslim by looking at you. I would bet a lot of money at an event like this, most of them would treat you very kindly. It doesn't mean they don't have problematic views. It doesn't mean that you're not garnering much more hate than a white person walking around. But I'm just telling you, I've lived in Texas my whole life. They're good people who live here, who are conservative. There's good people who have bad perspectives, who are very misled, but are good in their heart and are human beings as well. And then there's bad ones. And oftentimes the media figures and the leaders are horrible. And then many of the people who support those could be horrible as well. But I'm telling you, based on hundreds of interactions at this point. You cannot listen to this? Well, I will stop saying it then. Apologies.
Really matter, you know. It's really just.
Okay, that's kind of the end of that one. And then let's see, who is this? Oh yeah, this guy was funny.
Okay, so we're outside CPAC, and you're about to walk in. Who are you hoping to see, or who are you most excited for?
I am excited to see Trump, for one. For two, I also am excited to see Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon?
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, since you brought him up, this wasn't... Steve Bannon was pardoned by Trump, right? What he was...
The guy, I'm not telling you, yes. They set my house on fire. Holy smokes. I'm gonna stick to my belief, but I'm not, and let me explain. I'm not at all decreasing how significant your experiences are, because that is insane and horrible. Doug, I've had y'all, I've had people do bad things because of me, because of my identity. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I've never had anything like the dog mother just explained, and that's absolutely horrible. And I every bit of my heart feels terrible right now thinking about that. What I'm trying to say is it's not a monolith. Do you understand what I mean? Like what I mean by that? It's not a group of people who are all the same. There are horrible people who do hate crimes on individuals, like you experienced, the dog mother. They're not all that radical. It's like how in the far, far right you have KKK people, but not all conservatives are KKK people. Does that make sense? It's a similar thing with this. And my point is, I think we can reach out to some of them. A cult, not a monolith, yes. We're just worried it takes one nutcase so you understand. Guys, wait. First of all, number one, much of my show is spent criticizing the right wing about how dangerous they are. So don't even pretend like I don't understand that. It's actually kind of irritating me. Number two, I understand the damage that they can do. I'm not saying, please don't take this as me saying they aren't dangerous or the views they have aren't dangerous. I'm saying you can't think of them as not human. You can't think of them as some other species. These are humans like all of us who are misled, and some of them have even more like deranged perceptions of the world that cause them to do terrible things, like the dog mother explained. This is not decreasing how horrible some of their actions are. Absolutely. But I think if y'all had more people within your life who had some of these views, but you recognized we're also loving people, you would kind of see what I mean. Because it's like, we're not saying the horrible people aren't out there. We're saying many of the people who support the actual really bad views don't, as someone said, they're useful idiots. They don't know how horrible the view is. They're misled. We all understand what you're saying, but we are asking you to realize that you need to take people with you. I don't know what that means. As a mob, they're nuts though. True. I'm not seeing the dog mother. Are you with me now? You get what I'm saying? That there's horrible, terrible, dangerous individuals who do horrible things like you experienced, and it's terrible. And then there's a lot of people who support horrible individuals who actually are good at heart, but are terribly misled and think the world is something that it's not based on their media diet. Not all people are created intellectually evil, and that makes them dangerous. Yes, that's true. Okay. Oh gosh, what's happening? Come on.
Pardon for was defrauding like donors, because he was saying I'm building a border wall and he wasn't actually doing that. he was spending.
Here's also, it's so important. No, I 100% disagree with you. I love you, but no, you're wrong. Okay, I love you too. I don't think going in circles forever. I guess, guys, it's kind of that, like, we can't stoop to their levels. We can dehumanize the other side. We can say how dangerous they are, how horrible some of the views are, all of these things, but we can't find ourselves dehumanizing them. Okay. Y'all are leaving because of this? I feel like it's a very reasonable view. I'm just saying they're human beings as well. Doesn't everyone agree with that? That have very problematic views and very dangerous views. I forgot to read out, so let me... Thank you so much to Joe Fitz. Joe Fitz, sorry I didn't read this, who said, "You're amazing." Thank you so much for the massive super chat.
Like personal stuff. That's why Trump had to pardon him. I don't understand, because there's so many people within the conservative movement that I understand why you'd support them. They believe your things, but they like directly defrauded the people that they now are hoping to support them. Like, how do you forgive Steve Bannon for that?
You know, I still just listen to his podcast. So does my mother, and I just really like the way he speaks about issues.
You know what? No,
and I think
I'm not backing down this. Okay, I can stop. We have to humanize everyone. They all are, not all. Most of the ones you'll talk to are also just trying to work, provide for their family, being in their mind the best that they can be. And because of the media that they listen to, the family they grew up in, they have problematic views. Then there are some who are like just deeply, deeply hateful, and everything's motivated by hate. And that's the people who do horrible things to us, you know, when they, based on identities and stuff like that. But no, I'm not like softening my rhetoric on this because y'all freaked out. No. These are human beings, and we should treat them as such while understanding the danger that their ideology poses. Because when you start dehumanizing, that's when violence breaks out. And that's where people's like Vosh's ideology is dangerous, because they do what some people seem like y'all want to do in the chat. I'm not pointing any particular fingers, but you dehumanize, and now you have a justification for violence against people. We can recognize how dangerous ideologies are. We can recognize how dangerous cults or movements are without saying that the individuals within them aren't warranted of being humans in our eyes, okay?
brings up good points regarding politics for one.
Generally, based on what you've heard from the January 6th committee, what is your sense of it, and do any of those facts make you less positive towards Trump?
Well, actually, my mother attended the January 6th, and it's bad. People are still locked up over it. My family actually got investigated by the FBI for that, and they were just attending. They had nothing to do with going into the Capitol.
Yeah, and again, some of you're thinking of the ones with the most radical views. Some of them go to this and they just think that Trump stands for like America first or whatever, and I'm telling you, there's many of them are very, and the ones in my life too. Sweet people, and then some of them with the more radical views are the ones you're thinking of, or even Riviera. Thank you so much for the super chat. I can't believe that conversation just happened. I thought that was a very agreeable take. Okay. Here's the last interview. Not even reading the chat anymore. I don't care. I'm right. I love you guys.
So I hear most people feel like, even a lot of liberals blame Biden for gas prices going high up. Now we've seen 2 months of pretty historically fast drops in gas prices. Do you feel like it's something you should give Biden credit for, watching them drop?
No, I do not. I feel like he's using our reserves and using our reserves to drop the gas prices and to trying to find the word here, to basically fluctuate them just for a short period of time, then I think they'll end up rising right back up to where they were.
Have you kept up at all with the January 6th committee hearings and kind of looking into what led because you think it's kind of stupid or what?
Oh, Mark, no, I know a lot of the chat is being very supportive of my message as well. So I'm not saying everyone in the chat's saying. I'm just arguing with the ones who are. Okay, the whole world is saying said something about getting straight that they're dangerous. How many times have I said that? How many times have I said that? Also, how often do I talk about how the movement that supports Trump is supporting a man who's going to undermine our democracy? It's so dangerous, so dangerous. That has nothing to do with whether or not they are human beings who also, whatever, you've heard it enough.
Yeah, I just really don't see too much of a point in it, and that's it.
So, riddle me this, okay? If you're on the left and you feel like Biden won the election, you look, that's what the courts figured out, that's what kind of our official processes certified. And then you see through these investigations that Trump was doing everything possible to try to subvert what we would consider the rightful will of the people based on the election results and overturn the election. Don't you find it pretty reasonable that that would be super scary? And regardless of even if you were conservative, you would expect people to be against a president who tried to reject the election?
Not necessarily. With all of the stuff behind all the election fraud, I feel like I think he has every right to say that it was not a fair election.
Even though all the court cases didn't find that?
Yes, I do.
You think it?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit corrupt, and I think our government's a little bit corrupt, and I think they really covered it up really well, and yeah.
Interesting. So, election night. All right, so those were the interviews. There's one that I'll show on the show tomorrow. One more. But thank you to the Storm Virgil. And Sam said you can hold people accountable and still treat them with respect. I agree with you. Again, they dehumanize us. We can't turn around and dehumanize them right back. That's the point. Y'all sucked the life out of me with that. What the heck? That's scary, knowing that people who are supposed to, be progressive are resorting to similar type rhetoric. Oh my gosh. Discontinues Patreon, unfollowed, blocked on all social media, and will never support Luke again. Maybe you belong with your previous MAGA... What? Shuds? I don't know what that means. Wow. That's kind of hurtful. What the heck? Just for saying that we should treat people as human beings? Sheesh. Well, I'm going to keep fighting for what I believe in, regardless of if every single person in my audience doesn't think that I should. All right, y'all. On that bummer of a note, no, I know a lot of y'all are being really, really sweet in the chat, so I'm reading those as well. Don't think that I'm not very appreciative of it. Actually, y'all want to watch something else? I don't know what Kong Fury is. Zachary, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, don't read all the comments. People will always twist your words. Just speak your truth as clearly as you can. Ignore those who don't get it. We aren't resorting to anything. We're just concerned for your physical safety, or for physical safety, not your perspective. This has nothing to do with physical safety. This has to do with understanding that even people who have very problematic views are still human beings. Okay, let's watch something else before I go so we don't have to end on such a bummer of a note. Holy smokes. I've never been turned on like that, guys. We had such support, and then it was like, rawr. No, but many of y'all are awesome. And I'm not saying anyone's not awesome. I'm saying also many of you are awesome. A short film, retro wave style, very fun. Okay. Luke needs some Skittles. True that. Wait, what am I looking up? Kung Fury? Kung Fury? Okay. Kung Fury. Is this something I can watch on stream? Or am I gonna get copyrighted? This looks like something I'll get copyrighted on. Do you know that I can watch this on stream? I haven't seen much on your channel before today, Luke. I have been a Pac-Man subscriber for a while, but your perspective on dehumanizing makes you one of my favorite YouTubers now. Oh, thank you so much, Mysterious Monolith. That means a lot. Riviera Luna, thank you for the super chat. It's a free film. All right, cool. We can watch it then. Let's do it. Oh, no. Oh, maybe inappropriate. Okay, that's fine. Don't care about that. Let's go. So I don't... What is this? Can someone cue this up for me? Let's see. Let's see if the description has something for us. Kung Fury is an over-the-top 80s action comedy that was crowdfunded through Kickstarter. It features Kung Fury, a kung fu renegade cop who travels back in time to kill his nemesis, Hitler. The film features Nazis, dinosaurs, Vikings. Is this gonna be like weird and offensive? I don't know. Seems like it could be, but we'll see.
Hey, you got a permit for those guns?
I've got your permit right here. Catch you too.
Fuck this game.
Okay, you know what? I have concluded this is something for another day. This stream will stay themed for one topic. Plus, I'm deathly hungry, so I need to end the stream. We got through a lot. We had passionate debate and covered one of the biggest events in the last long time, a former president getting raided by the FBI. Let's call it there, and we can watch this this movie some other time. Because it's definitely like a fun live stream thing to do, I feel like. But just right now, I'm drained. All right. All right, cool. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Tune in when I go live. Obviously, this garnered a bigger audience than typical live streams, but I try to do good content when I do go live. So tune in and obviously show support on my stories each day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you